everyone! Hello to our first batch of listeners. Salamat sa pag-click at pag-visit sa podcast na ito upang makinig at mag-enjoy. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Carlo Ebuen. You can call me JC for short. So I'm a third-year BS DevCom student of Batangas State University main campus. So as you all know naman na this is the first episode of our podcast. Yes naman. And for our pilot episode, the topic was very interesting, especially for those who loves to drink alcohol. Yes, you heard it right. And on the course of this mini podcast, we are going to talk something about alcoholism. It was going to be about defining what alcoholism is, its effect, and other amazing facts. In addition, this podcast will relate the topic, which is alcoholism, to conformity, obedience, and compliance, as well as in relation of this to attitude and our behavior. So this one is going to be exciting, right? This podcast was titled Revealing the Truth About Alcoholism. Are you drunk? I'm not alone to discuss this matter with you, as I am accompanied by my colleagues who will later talk about their part regarding alcoholism and its relation to conformity, obedience, compliance, behavior, and of course with our attitude. We will have Miss Pagayonan, Miss Balicat, Miss Dela Cruz, Mr. Reyes, and Mr. Katigbak. But before we officially start this podcast, I want to ask, have you ever drink alcohol either with your friends, with stranger, or with your family? Ako personally, I already drink at nalasahan ko yung mapait na sandaling wala ka. Charot lang. Pero seriously, I already drink alcohol. I remember it was New Year's Eve. I actually didn't drink a lot. Parang tumikim lang ganun. And I was with my family, by the way. I asked my father whether I can try that thing or not. And since, I'm already at the right age na naman po, sabi ko, okay, sige, let's try. Yun. And my father just reminded me to drink moderately and responsibly, especially na yun ang first time ko sa pag-inom ng alcoholic beverage. So, on my first sip, napangiwi ako at napatanong, ganito pala to kapait. That time, napaisip ako, bakit kaya sarap na sarap sila sa pag-inom ng alak, and kapag umiinom sila, bakit parang hindi nila nalalasahan yung pait? Nakailan rin ata akong shot that time, and nung nararamdaman ko na parang nahihilo na ako at nagdadalawang tingin, sabi ko, okay na, stop na, awat na. At baka mamaya biglang bumagsak ako dito at makatulog. That time, gusto ko pang manood ng fireworks display. That was actually my first celebration of New Year na may kaunting tama. And akala ko nga that time, magagalit yung nanay ko. Pero sabi niya okay lang kasi alam ko naman daw yung limitations ko when it comes to drinking. So yon, nagkwento lang ako ng konti about first experience ko in drinking alcohol, and it was quite related naman to our topic. If you want to share something about your first ever drinking experience, don't hesitate to type that in our comment section and we will gladly read it. So now, to officially start this podcast, let me begin by defining alcohol. Ano po? So according to the World Health Organization, alcohol is a psychoactive substance with dependence-producing properties that has been widely used in many cultures for centuries. So the harmful use of alcohol causes a large disease, social and economic burden in societies, and ang hindi responsableng pag-inom ng alak ay maaari ding magresulta sa pinsala sa ibang tao, tulad sa ating mga kapamilya, kaibigan, katrabaho, at kahit sa mga hindi natin kilala o sa mga estranghero. So, bukod pa rito, ang mapaminsalang paggamit ng alak ay nagbubunga ng pangkalusugan, panlipunan, at pang-ekonomiyang pasanin sa lipunan. The World Health Organization aims to reduce the health burden caused by the harmful use of alcohol and thereby to save lives, prevent injuries and diseases, and as well as improve the well-being of individuals, communities, at ang society at large. So, kaugnay nito, I also read that the World Health Organization claims that alcohol consumption is a causal factor sa mahigit 200 diseases and injury conditions. Drinking alcohol is associated with a risk of developing health problems or mga sakit gaya ng mental and behavioral disorders. Kasama din ang alcohol dependence, major non-communicable diseases such as liver cirrhosis, some cancers, and even cardiovascular diseases. Pati na rin yung mga injuries resulting from violence and road clashes and collisions. So, a significant proportion of the disease burden attributable to alcohol consumption arises from both unintentional and intentional injuries. including nga dito yung mga due to road traffic crashes. And yon, isa yon sa mga dahilan kung bakit we should drink responsibly, because drunk driving may possibly occur and maaari yung mag-cause ng much bigger accidents and makalaman ng ibang tao. Next one is violence or yung pananakit na maaaring in the form of verbal or non-verbal. And isa pa dun is yung suicides and other fatal alcohol-related injuries which tend to occur o posibleng mangyari kahit sa mga relatively younger age group. Yon, gaya nga ng nabanggit ko na yung mga negative effects ng alcohol ay maaaring makaapekto kahit nasa mga tao na nasa batang edad. So, if a children or someone at a young age didn't have the care, pag-aalaga or guidance mula sa kanilang parents or guardians, may possibility na ma-expose sila sa alcoholic drinks which is maaaring maging reason ng kanilang alcohol misuse. So, drinking alcohol has negative effects on children and young people, and that's a fact. So, adolescents who misuse alcohol are more likely to suffer from different side effects. Included po doon yung mga appetite changes, weight loss o pagbaba ng timbang, eczema, headaches o lubhang pagsakit ng ulo, and of course, yung sleep disturbance or yung pagkasira ng tinatawag nating body clock and sleeping routine. And I know some of you already experienced this, and the most common impact of alcohol intoxication are vomiting, and in the worst case scenario, it can possibly lead to coma. So, ang mga negative effects and diseases that was related in alcoholism ay wala kang pinipiling edad. Young people are not immune to the chronic diseases and conditions associated with excess alcohol consumptions in adults, and deaths from liver diseases are now occurring or maaaring mangyari kahit sa mga tao na nasa younger age. So, psychologically, on a much larger scale, alcohol abuse in adolescents during a developmentally sensitive period poses a particular danger to the emerging brain faculties of executive functioning and long-term memory. So, adolescents are likely to be more vulnerable than adults to both subtle brain damage and long-lasting cognitive deficits following alcohol exposure. So the fact is that alcohol may increase our feelings of depression, and stress or anxiety-based drinking is associated with long-term and more severe negative outcomes. In relation to this, there's a relationship between adolescent alcohol use and mental health problems. So it is important that all young people with alcohol problems should have a mental health assessment. And if you ever suffer from mental health problems, you should at least visit professionals for consultation, assessment, and for medications, of course. So, hindi biro ang pag-aalaga sa ating mental health and stability, kaya instead of drinking alcohol which possibly leads to uncontrolled consumption, let's follow the right way of dealing with our problems. With that, hindi tayo makakaabala ng iba, hindi tayo magiging problema ng community, and mariresolve natin yung issues that concern ourselves and our health. So, in relation to alcoholism, alcohol consumption during an evening may affect a child's performance at school on the following day, since it takes time nga po to metabolize alcohol, and this process varies depending on the dose of alcohol that was consumed and differing metabolic capacity. So, there are studies nga na nag-show na there are associations between alcohol consumption and subsequent behavior with peers and friends. Indeed, excessive alcohol use can be detrimental to a young person being able to maintain friendships, particularly if the consumption levels are higher than among the peer group generally. So, in relation to this nga po, related din yan sa ating sexual health and behavior. Bakit? Because alcohol consumption is associated with, first, not using a condom during a young person's first sexual encounter, and it can increase likelihood of having sex at a very young age. And kabilang din dito yung mga unprotected sex, which might lead to teenage pregnancy and the likelihood of contracting sexually transmitted diseases. So yun, too much alcohol consumption leads to alcohol abuse and alcoholism, which then affects even the society. Regarding this matter, I want to hear the thoughts of Miss Jessel de la Cruz.
Good day everyone, my name is Jessel and I am going to give additional facts about an alcohol and alcoholism. This is the positive and the negative effects of alcohol in the body of the people. Maari ngayon ay nasa tamang edad na tayo and marami sa atin ang nai-expose na sa mga ganitong klase ng bagay. Maaring sa atin ay umiinom na tayo ng sobra-sobrang alak. Ngunit alam nyo ba na ang pagkonsumo ng alak is mayroong masama at meron din magandang epekto sa katawan ng tao. Ngayon mag-start ako sa positibong epekto ng alcohol. Number 1 is, according to the study, moderate alcohol consumption may provide some health benefits such as reducing the risk of developing and dying of heart diseases. Number 2, possibly reducing the risk of ischemic stroke. And this ischemic stroke is caused by a blood clot that blocks or plugs a blood vessels on the brain. And number 3, possibly reducing the risk of diabetes. Diba, as I browse the internet, ang pagkonsumo din pala ng alak in a moderate consumption na may balanced diet at saka exercise is nakakatulong din pala sa mga kalusugan ng tao. Nakadadagdag din to sa mga health benefits such as yung pagpapababa ng kaso ng mga may lung at saka heart disease, pati na rin yung mga taong may diabetes. Number 4 is ethyl alcohol is the intoxicating ingredients in alcoholic drinks. Alam naman natin na ethyl alcohol is a kind of an alcohol na kung saan ay ginagamit din siya as a sanitizer para sa iba't ibang klase ng paggamit katulad ng hospital at saka sa home use na din. And ethyl alcohol din pala yung isa sa mga ingredients, intoxicating ingredients ng alcoholic drink. Number 2, in moderation, alcohol may be good for you. Diba? As I said earlier, may mabuting na idudulot ang pag-inom ng alak sa katawan pero ito ay may kasamang balanced diet at saka exercise pero in a moderate alcohol consumption lang. The benefits of consuming small quantities of alcohol are mostly due to reduction in behavioral, emotional, and psychological responses to stress. Ayon nga sa pag-aaral, na-engage ang mga tao sa pag-inom ng mga alcoholic drink just because sa different kind of stress or problem na nararanasan nila. Diba tayo as a student, pagka nagiging busy tayo the whole week and the weekend, Sabado at Linggo, gusto nating mag-relax. Dahil maraming stress, maraming problema ang pagpasok sa school, dumadating tayo sa point na kung saan gusto nating magsaya, magliwaliw at uminom ng alak. And ayun nga sa pag-aaral, nagiging sanhi or nag-i-engage ang mga tao sa pag-inom ng alak is just because ito yung nagiging response nila sa iba't ibang klase ng stress. Whether that's behavioral, sa mga emotional na stress, and psychological responses. And yung moderate alcohol consumption din po is nagbibigay protection against stroke and heart attack. Diba hindi lang pala siya para sa mga lung and heart diseases, kundi nakakatulong din siya para maiwasan yung stroke at saka mga heart attack. Dahil kung hindi natin maitatanong, na ang alak po is may ingredients na kung saan ay nagpapa-normal ng daloy ng dugo ng isang tao. And kapag normal po ang daloy ng dugo ng isang tao is nagiging normal din or naiiwasan yung iba't ibang klase ng sakit na may kinalaman sa dugo, such as the diabetes. And dumako naman po tayo sa mga negative effects of alcohol consumption. Number 1 nga is sa utak ng tao. It interferes brain communication pathways and can affect the brain looks and works. This disruption can change mood and behavior and make it harder to think clearly and more with coordination. Kapag nakakainom tayo ng alak, 'di ba, kapag nasosobrahan, may mga bagay tayo na ginagawa na pagkatapos nating malasing is hindi na natin naaalala. And yun yung isa sa mga epekto ng alak sa katawan ng tao, specifically sa brain ng isang tao. Sa pamamagitan ng mga ingredients na meron ng alcohol, hindi nagpapunction ng maayos yung utak ng tao kapag siya ay nasa influence ng alcohol. Maaring nagbabago yung kanyang mood, nagbabago yung kanyang mga actions, mga galaw na pinapakita. Kasi hindi nagpa-function ng maayos at hindi siya nakakapag-isip ng maayos at nawawala sa coordination ang kanyang utak. Then, sa liver naman, sa aspect naman siya ng liver, kapag hindi nagiging tama ang pagkonsumo ng alak, ang isang tao is nagkakaroon ng mga liver inflammations, katulad na lang dito ng mga alcoholic hepatitis at saka yung mga fatty liver. Sa pancreas naman, it produces toxic substances that can lead to pancreatitis, a dangerous inflammation and swelling of blood vessels in the pancreas that prevents proper digestion. Sa labis na pagkonsumo ng alak, naapektuhan din nito yung pancreas ng isang tao na kung saan kapag dumadating sa point na hindi na tama yung pagkonsumo sa alak, ang isang tao ay nagkakaroon ng pancreatitis or nahihirapan ng isang tao sa pag-digest ng kanyang mga kinakain. Sa lahat ng mga facts na nabanggit ko about sa alcohol and alcoholism, laging sinasabi sa mga patalastas na drink responsibly. Kaya nga may mga age limit kung kailan ang isang tao ay umiinom ng alak dahil gusto nitong iparealize na ang pagkonsumo ng alak is nangangailangan ng tamang paggabay ng mas nakatatanda. Dahil katulad nga ng sinabi ko sa inyo, kapag hindi naging tama yung pagkonsumo ng alak is maaari itong mag-contribute sa iba't ibang klase ng mga diseases at hindi nagiging wasto yung ipinapakita ng tao kapag siya ay nasa influence na ng isang alcohol. Maraming salamat at these are some additional facts about alcohol and alcoholism.
Wow, that's a good talk from Miss Jessel de la Cruz. And now let's move on discussing how does alcohol affect our behavior. Let's have Mr. Edison Reyes to discuss this matter.
Hi, welcome to our podcast. My name is Edison and let's just talk about on how does alcohol affect our behavior. So let's just start. We all know that drinking alcohol has a wide range effect on your behavior and we see to the people na umiinom ng alak kung paano nag-iiba ang kanilang pagkilos. Kapag padami ng padami ang naiinom nilang alak, it's bad on our body, also on our mental health if sobrang dami ng naiinom mong alak. At nakakasama din ito sa iyo if ever you're not in your place or nakikidayo ka lang sa pag-iinom, di ba? Because maaari kang mapahamak kapag di nagustuhan ng ibang tao ang epekto ng alak sa ugali mo. And it's important to know what kind of different behaviors that affects on you when drinking heavy alcohol in order to avoid these kinds of behavior and to control yourself. When you reach your capacity on drinking alcohol, based on my research, there are 7 ways that excessive drinking affects your ability to make irrational decisions. So, ito po ang mga naging behavior ng isang tao kapag sosobrahan ang pag-inom ng alak. So, number 1 is attention deficient. Number 2 is impulsive behavior. Number 3 is aggressiveness. Number 4, overeating. And 5, self-awareness. And number 6, anxiety relief. And number 7, empty promises. So, let's just start. The first one is attention deficient. So what is attention deficient? It's when we can process information as well when we've had a few drinks. Nangyayari ang mga ganitong bagay kapag napapasobra na ang inom na nagiging cause pa sa isang tao, like hindi na makapag-concentrate ng ayos at hindi na nagiging aware sa kung anong mangyayari sa kanya. Yun po ang epekto ng alak sa attention deficient. So the next is impulsive behavior. It is when having a large amount of alcohol in our system reduces our ability to control our impulses. So ito naman yung mga ginagawa ng tao kapag nasosobran sa inom or yung nasasabi nila yon. Pero ang totoo, hindi nila alam kung ano ang nagiging kakalabasan nito na hilingin nila na sana din na lang nila nagawa or nasabi dulot ng kalasingan. It's like when you're a shy type person and you get too drunk of alcohol and it makes you to dance all night when you hear a music, and suddenly when it's already in the morning and not drunk anymore, you just wish that you don't do those things. Yon, siguro po nakakaranas sa atin nun. Number 3, aggressiveness. So yung aggressiveness, what is aggressiveness? Just when alcohol can cause some people to become irrationally irritated and aggressive toward others. Siyempre, meron tayong kilalang mga ganito na malimit ang sasabihan ng alak ay sa tiyan nilalagay, hindi sa ulo. Yun nga sabi ng matatanda. Sometimes, most people na nagiging ganito ay mga lalaki na nagiging resulta or simula ng away. So, yun po yun. And the fourth one is overeating. So, overeating is when people drink alcohol, have a difficulty controlling or regulating their food intake. A few drinks can make even the most dedicated dieters overeat. So, this means ay kapag nakakainom tayo ay napapadami ang ating pagkain or nagugutom tayo. Kaya sa mga gustong mag-diet at magpapayat dyan ay pigilan muna at huwag na muna uminom ng alak para maging epektibo ang pag-diet natin. So, the fifth one, or the number 5, self-awareness. Self-awareness. What is self-awareness? It is when a person's ability to keep tabs on their actions is severely impaired when they are under the influence of alcohol. Some people who drinks a lot of alcohol tends to be conscious with their self. They notice even the single thing about themselves. They are being aware on what they are doing and what they will do next. Most of the people tends to lose their focus or even behavior when they drink a lot of alcohol. They are being unconscious with their words and their actions. They even change their behavior. Some are being emotional, while others are being hot-headed. But somehow, being aware with our actions and words will keep us safe in a session or a party. So, the next one is anxiety relief. Ito po yung pang number 6, anxiety relief. What is anxiety relief? There is a thought na malalaman mo ang tunay na nararamdaman ng isang tao when they are drunk. Well, it's somehow true. Usually, people think na kapag umiinom sila, they will forget everything. But no, this is wrong. Mali po yun. And it makes everything worse. Imagine, you drink alcohol to forget, but suddenly you open up everything. Nasabi mo na lahat. Nalasing ka. For example, you are after a breakup, then akala mo, pag inom mo today, limot mo na tomorrow. So yun, back to my point. So the point here is alcohol doesn't help you to forget, but it will lessen the heavy feeling that you are carrying. Yun po ang epekto ng alak. Hindi po talaga siya para makakalimot. And the last part is the empty promise. When someone is drunk, they talk a lot and share a lot, and they even tend to promise some things. So this effect gives high hope to someone whom he or she promised with, because a single words really have a big impact to everyone. So this false hope gives disappointment, and eventually you will lose trust to that someone na kahit ang pang sabihin niyan, hindi ka na maniniwala. Kaya guys, never trust someone na when they are lasing, di ba? Kayong maniniwala sa mga pangako dahil kinabukasan baka limot na yan eh. So yun po. So yun ang mga 7 behavioral effects ng alcohol abuse na mahalaga din nating malaman. to know that those behaviors we can possibly get once we drink alcohol too much. And my sharing po, and based on my experience in drinking alcoholic drinks, hindi ko may tatanggi na halos lahat ng mga nabanggit ko kanina na behaviors ay akin na rin naranasan. Kapag nasosobrahan sa pag-inom ng alak, kalimitan pag sobrang lasing na ako tapos malapit lang sa amin ang bahay, yung pinag-inuman namin, minsan pag nagigising ng umaga sa kwarto ko, iniisip ko talaga kung paano kaya ako nakauwi dahil di ko talaga minsan matandaan. Siguro kalimitan sa inyo ay nakaranas na din ng ganong bagay kapag nasosobran sa inom, di ba? Alam ko na naapektuhan ng utak pag nararanasan ang mga ganong bagay, kaya binabawasan ko na din ang pag-iinom ng sobra. Kaya mga listeners, alam natin na we live in the society that normalizes drinking, especially at young age, nang hindi iniisip kung ano ang magiging epekto nito sa ating katawan at pag-iisip. Kaya habang bata pa, huwag nating hayaan ang sarili nating masira ng alak at matutong mag-enjoy at banding ng hindi umiinom ng sobra. Ito po ang inyong host, Edison Reyes. So, maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Mr. Edison, for that information. And now, to give us brief introduction about conformity, compliance, and obedience and its relation to alcoholism, let's have Mr. Kim Katigbak.
Hello, I'm Cruz Katigbak. I'm here to tackle to you about conformity, obedience, and compliance, and how it relate in alcohol. Conformity is a process whereby people change their beliefs, attitudes, action, or perception, or more closely match those held by groups to which they belong, or they want to belong, or by groups whose approval they desire. When it comes to obedience, this is act or practice of obeying, while compliance means following the rule or an order, so the three words which are conformity, obedience, and compliance have a connection to alcohol and how. Una, conformity. Masasabi ko na ito ay may connection sa alcohol sapagkat base sa akin nakikita ay may iba't iba tayong pananaw pagdating sa alak. Para sa akin, ito lamang ay libangan na kung saan ay dahil dito ay may nabubuong magandang samahan. Ngunit sa iba naman, o masasabi kong tao ay may paniniwala, ang pag-inom ng alak ay isang kasalanan. Sa pagkakaiba ng paniniwala, ng dalawang panig ay pumapasok dito ang conformity. Pangalawa, obedience. Konektado nga ba ito sa alcohol? Oo. Dahil bilang isa sa mga nakakatikim ng alak, yes, ay masasabi kong ibang epekto nito sa isang tao kapag napasobra. Sapagkat nagiging masunurin tayo sa lahat ng bagay ang sinasabi ng ating kausap. So that, masasabi kong konektado ito sa alcohol. Masyado tayo nagiging masunurin. Isang request lang ng ating mga kainuman ay talaga naman ating susundin agad. Minsan, syempre, bilang pakikisama natin, nagiging obedience tayo sa kanila. Ayaw nating mapahiya ang isang tao kapag tayo nasa inuman o barikan. Yun ay sign ng pagiging, sign yun ng ating pakikisama sa iba. Na nagiging mapagbigay tayo, nagiging masunurin tayo sa lahat. Tayo ang gumagawa. Tayo ang nagsasabuhay nito. At sa huli, it's the compliance. It has a similarity to obedience because they are both following an order. Konektado naman ito sa alcohol sapagkat ang pag-inom ng alak ay may mga batas din naman tayong susundin upang hindi mapasama o mapasobra. Sabi nga ng isang commercial, drink responsibly. Kasi ang alak nilalagay sa tiyan, hindi sa utak. Pag nasobrahan ka sa alak at sa utak mo nilagay, apektado nito ang lahat. Maaari kang magsimula ng gulo or what. Pero sinasabi ko na kailangan may respeto tayo sa lahat. Ako, bilang isa akong sabihin nating mag-iinom or umiinom ng alak, kita ko sa lahat na kailangan, kumbaga, pag may pinag-uusapan, tahimik ka lang, huwag kang sisingit or hayaan mo siya. Basta kung alam mo sa palagay mo na okay pa, sige lang, hayaan mo sila. Basta wag lang nilang ma-feel na sila nababastos. Sa kabuuan, masasabi ko na conformity, obedience at compliance ay konektado sa alcohol. Sa pagpapaalala sa lahat na tayo ay may limit and we are being exclusive or being excessive is bad. Ang mapapayo ko lang sa lahat ay kung tayo iinom, dapat ang alak sa tiyan, hindi sa utak. Kasi sa utak mo inalagay ang alak, huwag ka na uminom, walang mangyayari. Ang alak ay pampalipas oras. Hindi ito para sa may mga problema na kung makapag-inom ay wagas na dun ibubuhos ang lahat, na sa tingin nila malalampasan nila ang problema dahil sa alak. Hindi. Ang alak ay pampalipas oras, panlibang, na hindi porket nakainom ka ay masama ka na. Nasa sayo yan bilang isang tao. Kung gagawa ka ng gulo, isipin mo, tama ba ako? Tama ba to? Or what? Sinong masasagi ko? Sinong masasaktan ko? Or what? Basta, alam mo sa sarili mo, tama ka. Paglaban mo. Pero hindi ko sinasabing gumawa ka ng gulo. Sinasabi ko, maging responsable ka. Maging responsable ka sa lahat ng oras, sa lahat ng bagay. Hindi sagot ang alak sa problema. Ang alak ay pantakas sa problema. Ang alak ay para kalimutan ng problema. Pero at the end of the day, sabi kong hindi mo nakakalimut ng problema ang alak. Kasi sa dami kong problema, hindi ko alam paano ko malalampasan lahat ng problema ang magitan ng alak. Yes, nagiging obedience ako. Nagiging masunurin ako sa lahat. Pero hindi ko pa rin masasabi na lampasan ko lahat ng problema. Basta sinasabi ko lang, drink responsibly.
Thank you, Mr. Katigbak, for sharing that information and to give us more information about conformity and compliance and its relation to alcohol. We will have Miss Pagayonan to discuss this matter.
Good day, listeners, and welcome again to our podcast, Revealing the Truth About Alcohol. By the way, I am Angeline Pagayonan, and this time we will be talking about conformity and compliance in relation to alcoholism. So now, I am about to share something with you that is related to our topic and how it affects to our daily lives. So, ngayon naman ay pag-usapan natin ang conformity. Ano nga ba ang conformity and how it relates to alcoholism? So, ang conformity daw ay ang pagbabago ng iyong sarili at paniniwala sa nakikita mo sa isang group of people. So, you act differently because that's what you see to other people. And conformity din ay hindi dahil nakikita mo ang ginagawa ng iba, kundi naaapektuhan ka sa kinikilos nila. Siyempre, it is somehow different on how you act when you are alone. Diba nga sabi na, you are changing your behavior, your beliefs, just to fit in a group of people. So, napakadaming factors para maapektuhan ng conformity and it leads to alcoholism. So, isang factors ay ang siguro group of friends. You are in a hangout, a party, so syempre, lagi namang bida ang alak sa lamesa, lalo na sa mga magtotropa. So, dito pumapasok yung conformity. So, halimbawa, you are not drinking alcohol. Sabi natin, hindi ka umiinom ng alcohol. So, syempre, lahat ng kaibigan mo umiinom. So, yun nga, magkakasama kayo sa isang hangout. So, nag-iinuman sila. So, ikaw, hindi ka naman talaga umiinom kasi hindi mo gusto ang lasa ng alak. So, dahil doon sa mga reasons mo na yun, parang hindi yun masusunod. Kasi nga, mapasok na yung conformity na you are changing your behavior and as well as your belief para lang mag-fit in ka dun sa group of people. So, dahil nakikita mo yung ginagawa nila, parang naaapektuhan ka. Like, sige na nga, inom na nga ako kasi mahibigan ko umiinom. Diba? So, dun na nagsisimula yun. So, another thing is yung family naman, the effect of family to you. Sabihin natin is yung, yun. So, simula bata ka, nakikita mo nga silang umiinom. So, doon na din papasok yung factor na nagkakaroon ka ng attraction sa alak na yung pamilya ko mga umiinom naman yan eh. So, parang ikaw doon na din na nagkakaroon ng eagerness yung sarili mo na sige na nga, inom na lang din ako. Diba? So, the gender naman, so, yun, halimbawa na sa party na naman kayo, and then you see your friends, lahat kayo, mga babae. So, dun din, pumapasok naman dito is yung, yung paniniwala mo na dahil nakikita mo na ginagawa nila yon at kahit mga babae sila, umiinom sila, at babae ka rin, so, sige lang, inom ako, wala namang masama, dahil lahat naman kami ay babae. So, last naman is yung naaapektuhan ka sa sinasabi ng nakararami. Like, for example, sabi nila, wala namang masama dun eh. Okay lang yan, minsan-minsan lang naman. So, yun. Doon na din papasok yung conformity na nagkakaroon ka na rin ng attraction talaga. So, mas lumalaki yung chance na ma-conform ka and then to lead to drinking alcohol. So, sa tingin ko naman, those example that I mentioned can lead to alcoholism. Diba? Kahit nasabihin mong it's your first time, pagdating kasi ng pahuli, kapag ka nagustuhan mo ang lasa ng alak, hindi pa ba dumadating na yung chance na, sige na nga, inom na nga ako, okay pala yung lasa. So, okay din pala siya ng pag-iisip. Like, for example, yung nagiging chill ka, wala kang nararamdaman kasi ang saya, parang ganun. Nagkakaroon ng kasiyahan, nag-build ng friendship. So, yun yung positive effects sa'yo. Pero marami pa rin negative effects ang pag-inom ng alak. So, mamaya, pag-uusapan din natin kung ano-ano ba yung ibang effect pa nito sa atin para mag-lead into alcoholism. Compliance. So, diba, yung request niya, parang, sige na nga, isa lang ito last na ito diba, yun yung door in the face technique. So, second example ko is yung foot in the door technique naman. So, itong foot in the door technique, ito yung pag nag-comply ka na dun sa isa, you need to comply to the other one. So, halimbawa, oy, uminom ka na. Inom ka pa, isa pa. Diba? Yung mga ganun sinasabi ng barkada mo. Then, wala naman yan eh. Nasimulan mo na rin naman eh. Sige na, inom ka na, diba? Nakakatuwa kasi meron din palang mga technique na gano'n na pwedeng mai-apply into drinking alcohol. Kaso, it will lead to alcoholism. So, pag-usapan naman natin ngayon yung mga negative effects ng conformity and compliance sa alcohol that will lead to alcoholism. So, kanina na-mention ko na dahil sa request nila sa compliance, yan, sa conformity, dahil nakikita mo sa kilos nila, nababago yung behavior mo and yung belief mo na natuto kang uminom. So, dahil sa social influence, doon na pumasok yung pagkakaroon mo ng attention sa alak. Parang nagsimula na yung doon na, nag-start na yung parang nakainom ka na ng alak, hinahanap-hanap mo na siya, parang okay pala yung alak, pwede pala siyang maging coping mechanism. So, dahil sa social influence na yan, pwedeng mag-lead ito sa alcoholism. So, meron tayong tinatawag na alcohol use disorder. So, ito nga yung alcoholism. So, yung too much drinking of alcohol. So, wala namang masama sa pag-inom ng alak, pero dapat po atin itong lilimitahan para hindi tayo mahantong sa pinakamasamang epekto nito, 'di ba? So, kanina nga na-mention ko din na maraming negative effects nga ito. So, yun na yung mental and behavioral disorders. So, dahil nagkakaroon ka na ng depression, anxiety, dahil sa pag-inom mo ng maraming alak, yung parang wala ka ng pigil, sige, inom, hanggang sa magkaroon ka na ng failure sa iyong kalusugan, until it cause death na. Ayun lang ang nilalaman ng ating topic, and thank you so much everyone, and have a good day.
Wow, that was a good talk and sharing from Miss Pagayonan. And now let's have Miss Jean Balicat discuss obedience and its relation to alcoholism.
Good day everyone, I'm Jean P. Balicat and I'm here to give more information about obedience and relation to alcoholism. One of the most rampant issues in our society today is alcoholism. According to the World Health Organization globally, 3.3 million trusted source deaths every year result from the harmful use of alcohol. The National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism describes alcohol use disorder trusted source as problem drinking that becomes severe. A person with this condition does not know when or how to stop drinking. They spend a lot of time thinking about alcohol and they cannot control how much they consume even if it is causing serious problems at home, work, and financially. But sometimes, too much is not good. For me, seeing an alcoholic person, kahit saan na lang yan eh. It was so hard to accept na parang nagiging normal na lang talaga para sa karamihan ang makakita ng alcoholic na tao. In relation to obedience, may kanya-kanya tayong pinagmulan na maaaring maging malaking factor upang maging alcoholic ang isang tao. For example, ang tao na ito ay nagmula sa pamilya ng mga mahilig uminom. So, simula pagkabata niya, kung ito yung environment na kanyang kinagisnan, maaaring magaya niya rin or masunod kung ano ang kanyang nakikita sa kanyang kinalakihan, which is pamilyang mahilig uminom. Diba? So, parang kasama na sa buhay niya ang pagiging alcoholic person. Dahil kung ano ang kanyang naobserbahan or natututuhan sa kanyang paligid, ay kanya ring gagayahin hanggang sa di niya na napapansin patagal ng patagal, nagiging habit niya na ang pag-iinom. And most of the time, kapag sobrang dependent na yung tao sa alcohol, halos umiikot na lang ang mundo niya sa pag-iinom. Every time na masaya siya at gusto niyang mag-celebrate, mag-iinom siya. Kapag malungkot siya at gusto niyang ilabas ang mga hinanakit sa buhay, mag-iinom siya. Kapag galit siya at gugustuhin niya na lang uminom para lumipas ang galit niya. May ganitong mga tendency at para sa isang alcoholic person ay normal na lang ito para sa kanya. Malaki talaga ang impact ng environment ng isang tao kung bakit siya nagiging alcoholic person. Maaari ring ito ay sa impluwensya ng mga kaibigan dahil sa tingin nila mas masaya kapag kasama ang mga kaibigan habang nagiinom. Kasi doon mas naipapakita nila sa isa't isa yung solid na samahan at nakakapag-open up sila ng mga problema nila. Ako kasi talaga, based on my experience, kapag may nakikita akong lasing or isang alcoholic person, ayoko talaga sa mga taong sobrang hilig uminom eh. Sobrang mabilis akong marinde kapag madaldal yung lasing at isa pa, sa karamihan kasi sa mga nakikita kong nalalasing ng sobra, nakakagawa ng masama. Tulad na lang ng pwede silang makapanakit ng kapwa nila. Karamihan din ngayon ng mga nasasangkot sa mga aksidente ay yung mga taong nagmamaneho ng may inom. Maaari din na maging dahilan ito ng pagkakaroon nila ng sakit. And these are the effects of alcohol addiction on health. Over the long term, the effects of alcohol addiction on the body and overall health can be significant. They can be difficult or impossible to reverse. Studies show alcohol use can affect these parts of the body. High blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, stroke sa heart. Next is sa liver, inflammation including alcoholic hepatitis, fibrosis, and cirrhosis. As well as sa ating kidneys, acute kidney failure and chronic kidney disease. Sa pancreas naman, inflammation and swelling of blood vessels and prevent proper digestion. Sa ating immune system naman, increased susceptibility to disease such as tuberculosis and pneumonia. So, alcohol abuse has been linked to cancers of the breast, mouth, esophagus, throat, larynx, colon, and rectum. It may also increase the risk of stomach and pancreas cancers. Minsan, hindi mo rin masisisi ang isang tao kung bakit siya nagiging alcoholic. Ito ay marahil nais niyang takasan ang realidad ng buhay dahil sa bigat ng problema na kanyang dinadala. Kaya, wala siyang ibang choice kundi ang uminom na lang ng uminom dahil sa pag-aakalang pagising niya ay magiging mas better na ang pakiramdam niya. Pero habang patagal ng patagal, hindi na niya namamalayan sa sarili niya na alcoholic person na pala siya. Mahalaga pa rin na maging observant tayo sa ating mga mahal sa buhay and we must try to understand them dahil baka hindi natin namamalayan may problema din pala sila pero hindi nila kayang i-express. We must try to ask them kung okay pa ba sila. And to all those people na nakakaranas ng matinding problema, may all your weaknesses today be your strength for tomorrow. And muli, ako po si Jean Balicat. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for tuning in to the very first episode of our podcast. We are very grateful that you support us. We hope to see you on our next episode. Bye-bye!